What's happening, YouTube? This is something easy to sound tutorial on how to make Terra's ends of the Earth Keblade. Now, this Keyblade is a lot more difficult than the gigantic freaking swords from last tutorial. But, with all that extra difficulty, I managed to get it done in time for Anime Detour. Go Minnesota! Now, the big thing with this Keyblade is how to connect absolutely every single piece. And to solve that problem, I used one PVC pipe. And as we all know, PVC stands for pretty valuable crap, and it showed its worth with this one. The next big thing is how do you connect the handguard in two areas? The answer, Dremel saw. Now what I did is I used the Dremel here and cut all the way through to the top and in here. Now this is the hardest part because obviously one piece, how are you going to be able to fit that together? Simple. This is not one piece. This V shape is different from this whole thing. Now you can thank my sister, Silly Little Songbird, check out her channel, she's got some good stuff, for making this correspond with this. The next big question was, how am I going to get that to work? Answer, 1/4-inch plywood and a table saw. So what I did is I took a table saw and I ran it from the very tip all the way up to the spot that I marked. Now you got to be very careful and mark both sides of your PVC, because what happened to me is I only marked one side, and when we flipped it over I actually cut it to about here, and it connected with the Dremel cut up here and the thing nearly snapped in half. So be very, very careful with that. I'd recommend enforcing that with some kind of glue or tape or fiberglass before it breaks. Save you a lot of time and a lot of hassle and a lot of worries. But the main tools I use on this thing would probably be the skill saw and fiberglass. Now a skill saw is a handheld electrical saw with a tiny blade that moves up and down a lot, really fast. And it allows you to make precise cuts in any form of metal, depending on what kind of blade you have. Now with me, I just used 1/4-inch plywood. It was effective, it had the thickness to it, and it was sturdy. I could paint it, I could add anything to it. And it made the perfect, stable base to put my fiberglass mat on. Now there's a lot of controversy between fiberglass mat and fiberglass cloth. Personally, I find no difference, but mat is a whole lot messier. So I say go with cloth. But fiberglass mat and cloth both leave very distinct indents. So if you're entering a competition, take this one in. Take this tip in. Cover it with some kind of plaster or filler. Joint compound and Bondo are probably your two best bets to cover these, and then you sand it over for it to be smooth. Now, if you're not entering a competition and you really don't care if people see indents or grooves or whatever, you don't have to take this extra step. It's just something that makes it look a lot cleaner and a lot nicer. And I highly recommend using blue painter's tape for this, or the green frog tape for the borders and the gold on the Keyblade, because I've tried a bunch of other tactics, it does not work very well. So that's how you make Terra's Keyblade in a nutshell. If you want any questions or any more detail on how to do this, you can put comments on my sister's, Silly Little Songbird, her channel, or leave it underneath this video. And Stevie, if you're watching this, don't hate.